When I started writing and recording poetry, I never expected the journey of self-discovery that it put me on. It all started back in 2003 when a good friend of mine, James Brooks, he had a recording studio in his room at university, and all us Bermudians would come over and record and mess around on the mic. And one day he was like, Steph, let's put together a rap album. And I was like, nah, that ain't really my style. Like, I feel awkward when I rap, like I'm wearing the wrong pair of shoes. But what I do is quite similar, and I love writing down my thoughts and ideas and philosophies and stringing words together. So he was like, well, let's record all the verses, put it out, and call it poetry. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do that. And that was one of the greatest light bulb moments of my life. After that, everything changed. Over the next 8 years, I was recording, writing, and performing between Bermuda and Toronto. And I started to notice a lot about myself that I never saw before. In particular, the accent. When I was performing in Toronto, my girlfriend at the time would be in the audience, and every time I said something that was like Bermudian, she'll shake her head like, nah, they're not understanding anything you're saying. And you could tell when you're not connecting with the audience. So at that point, I started to realize what about myself was Bermudian and how to engage an audience that wasn't. So during this time, I wrote a particular piece. It's called Progression, and it talks about things I've seen in Toronto and things I've seen in Bermuda, and it goes like this. She was only 19, and her mind was in need of some attention. Love implementing vibes, complementing her good intentions. But her environment has strongly suggested for her to do some things, digest some means to pay the bills. Scars on her knees, still can't pay the bills. No frills around the corner, still can't count the corner she's going on. High heels worn on every night. So the bottom of her feet has now turned from light brown to black as night. Still can't wipe it right. So her frustrations hype, tears start to fight the flame within. Can't contain her sins. Can of worms no lid to hold it tight. She might crack tonight. So she says, that's it tonight. I never wanted this. I've been sleepwalking since I laid down to him. I can't get down with him no more. This is a major detour from where it was headed. Time to take an exit. He was only 23, and his mind was in need of something real. Too much thug appeal for blingy claim to kill any adversary. Commentary of his ways, crossing the island like waves. Unknown how he caught up until his actions paved the road he never expected. His best friend shot with an automatic weapon, not trying to plug up his leaky brethren. Too much blood, God's help is asking for the first time. Finally, his eyes open wide, consciousness awakening. Life is too precious to be faking it. This is a major detour, we can't keep taking it. Let me pull over the exit I'm taking, man. See, at times it seems like life roads just need bigger signs for the exits. Because some of our roads are so hectic, we never even check if our actions are progressive. But that begs the question, how do you define progression? But then that's not mine, but yours to question. Thank you. So another great thing I notice is how much words have power, how much they can shape our realities and manifest things in this physical world and show us our true selves when we observe the reflection. When I started putting out my albums, people would stop me in the street and tell me things that they saw in my words that I never saw in myself. So that alone helped me to not only write better and to change as a person, but it gave me perspective on everything. Now, my company, I do graphic design. We do print and web. We also create products like books, these albums, and T-shirts. And I've always seen my company as like a plant, and the poetry and the albums are like the flower and the fruit. And being able to create the artwork and write the lyrics gave me the ability to write and tell the story on multiple levels. For example, my second album, The Script Keeper, I released in 2009, and I wanted the album to be more about theories and how I see the world and philosophies and giving life to inanimate objects. And I didn't really want to include too much of my personal work in it. So the album cover is actually my face made up of my family members' names and inspirational words. So even though I'm not speaking about them, I'm still carrying them in the art. Being able to do that gave me a real creative high. Now, poetry is a very hard sell, especially in Bermuda. I feel a lot of times Bermudians think poetry smells funny, and they think it's soft and all these other things. But poetry truly can change lives and can help oneself understand their environment and how they see the world by just observing the reflection. Now, one thing that I wanted to keep consistent while I was creating my work and my catalog was evolving was that I wanted to make sure that on everything that I produced, there was at least one track that was 100% Bermudian. And on my last album, Labrago, which I released in 2011, That piece was called Bermudian Poet. And this goes out to all the Bermudian poets in the house. And it goes like this. Born on the tip of volcanic lips, the lava we spit most cannot take, so I sometimes serve mine up warm for the foreigners that can't relate. See, our lava lakes move mountains like tectonic plates, so when it cools, it hardens on your memory banks until your memory stanks from the stench of our flow, like Spittle's poem and a hurricane coming too close. So check your shark oil, yo, because we're everywhere in between. The cannons of St. Catherine to the west gates of inmates' dreams. No walls can stop our steam. Railway trails is what we leave. Inspiration is what we see to those that are lost at sea. A Bermudian poet, I am he. A lighthouse to those that need to avoid reefs that we have seen. Harbor Radio just might agree that we'll be making waves all up and on your front street. And no, we cannot be like a man from another land. Because why would I change me, Bermudian, forever, man? No matter when or time of day. Rhymes taste like swizzle, dark and stormy, black all day, 150A. Come check the proof. Or come round Chewstick, we blow off your roof. Fabian truth to the highest power. Respect, freedom, love, truth. 22 miles, 24 hours. Done. Thank you.